inverters is always the same as the on-grid power. So, for example, if you have a 10 kilowatt hybrid inverter, this means you can also use 10 kilowatt in off-grid. So with the special amount of batteries, then you can definitely also have a 10 kilowatt off-grid power in EPS mode.
A další výborná vlastnost SolaXu je, že může být používán až 6 hybridních invertorů paralelně připojených, a to i na off-grid straně. A když máme vlastně 10 kW střídač výkon v panelech, je to možné i s bateriemi užívat 10 kW i na off-gridu a paralelně. To znamená, že můžeme mít vlastně až 60 kW výkon v off-gridu a on-gridu a paralelně.
Okay, thank you. And this switching time of the internal EPS function can be very fast. So there can be different scenarios. And one of the scenarios is to run the EPS port in parallel with the on-grid port. And therefore, we have a very short switching time with less than 10 milliseconds. And this is a classification like a UPS function, which is already a very nice to have feature with our inverters.
Že se zapomněl dodat, k tomu paralelnímu připojení je potřeba EPS Parallel Box, jsme nezapomněli. A další funkce SolaXu na backupu je teda UPS funkce, která zajišťuje přepnutí, velmi rychlé přepnutí do backup modu v rámci 10 milisekund. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Here we have some more points. I think these points will also answer directly some questions from the chat. And after these points, we can do a little question and answer round before we come to the next topic. I've seen in the chat, there have been some questions about the output unbalanced power. So in on-grid, but of course also in off-grid mode, the inverter can output unbalanced power. So normally the power on all three phases is balanced. But with SolaX inverters, you can activate an unbalance on the phases, and the maximum power on each phase is a third of the inverter power. So for example, if you have a 12 kilowatt inverter, then you have power, a maximum power of 4 kilowatt on each phase. If you have a 15 kilowatt inverter, then the maximum power is 5 kilowatt on each phase.
Yes. Takže v otázkách viděl Rudolf, že máme otázku ohledně nevyváženého výstupu, tedy asymetrie. Samozřejmě SolaX umí asymetrii a je to tak, že umí asymetrii na vlastně třetina jeho výkonu může být použita na každou fázi zvlášť. Okay. We proceed for the questions. You want to translate some?
Yeah, we can now start with some questions regarding the inverters.
Takže mám tady otázku. Lze měnič SolaX použít k instalaci, kde distributor nepovolil přetoky do sítě, umí zajistit nulový přetok do sítě? Děkuji za to. So, is it possible to use SolaX for zero power to the grid, like power limitation, if it's necessary?
That's also possible. So together with the energy meter, the installers can activate, for example, the zero export function or the export function with a other amount of a watt, which is allowed to go to the grid. But of course, this amount can also be zero, like a zero export function. It can be activated in the settings of the inverter.
Ano, že samozřejmě může, dá se nastavit různé hodnoty přetoku v invertoru, když se nastaví nulová hodnota přetoku, tak žádná energie nepřetíká do distribuční sítě. Some other question? Pro složitější domovní instalace s hlavním měsíčem 25 A je lepší použít měřící trafa proudu, které se nacvaknou na hlavní přívod. Viděl jsem, jsou dostupné s NTP minimálním převodem 100 na 5 A. To dostatečné pro rychlou reakci. So the question is, we can also use CTs only for the measuring the current in a household. So it's also the same fast as the meter, and also that's sufficient.
Yes, correct. You can decide between using energy meter for direct measurement, but you can also use CT clamps for the indirect measurement. Of course, the direct measurement is more accurate and faster, but also the measurement with the CT clamps is also very practical. So both ways are possible.
Okay. Takže ano, samozřejmě můžeme použít i cívky měřící, není v tom žádný problém, ovšem měřící vlastně metr je o něco rychlejší, o něco přesnější na měření přetoku a energie v domě. Okay. We shall proceed to another slide. Any questions?
Okay, so when there are no more questions, then we can proceed with the presentation.
Yeah.
Now I would like to switch to a new topic, or maybe just some last words for hybrid inverters. So regarding the different work modes and different features, as you can see, they are very, very different, very specific, also very powerful. And I think, to get more details, maybe in future we can organize a webinar to a specific topic, maybe to the parallel use or to other features of the inverter. So I think there's definitely more information to give in a normal 1 or 90 minutes presentation. It's not easy to have covered all the features and functions, but I think in the end, everybody has a very good overview about everything.
Pokud by byly nějaké potřeba hloubější vysvětlení těchto problémů paralelních zapojení a dalších funkcí, můžeme udělat webinář na přesnější topic, který budete mít zájem, nebo vám to já budu moci vysvětlit, když mi napíšete osobně e-mail, nebo nám napíšete e-mail na support, tak se vám budeme věnovat hlouběji v rámci nějakého problému.
Okay, let's go on to the new topic, a very interesting topic, I would say, because for every hybrid inverter system, a battery system or a powerful battery system definitely is a very important part of it. As I mentioned before, since 2018, SolaX Power is also a battery manufacturer, and our battery brand is called Triple Power. So every battery on the market from SolaX Power is a triple power battery. We only buy the cells of some battery cell suppliers, but the development and manufacturing or engineering is done by SolaX Power for 100%. So currently we can offer 2 different battery sizes. The generation 3 battery is a T5 or is a 5.8 kilowatt-hour battery. This battery is suitable for also very, very big battery systems. So if the customer has a very high demand on the storage capacity, then it's good to choose this battery. Let's say for normal houses, for normal one-family houses, I think the generation 4 battery is already enough, because this can also be scaled from 3 kilowatt hours to 12 kilowatt hours. And this also has the special advantage of battery heating. This battery can really operate until minus 30 degrees in very cold conditions. Okay, Wojtek, please.
Yes. Tady vidíme dva typy baterií, které SolaX používá. Je to baterie 5,8 kW a baterie 3 kW. 5,8 kW se dá škálovat až do 46 kWh a 3 kW až do 12 kWh. Ta 3 kW teda umí operovat až do minus 30 stupňů. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we get some more details on the batteries. So new with the T30 battery is of course the smaller battery capacity, which gives you a very good flexibility in designing storage systems. And here you can get an impression on how these can be built. As you directly see, this is a stackable battery. So you can always stack 2, 3 batteries on top. The limitation is only the size of the height of the room, for example. But then you are really flexible in building up these battery systems.
Yes. Tady vidíme 3 kW baterii, která se dá stackovat na sebe. Je dobrá s flexibilitou díky tomu, že můžete volit od 3 až do 12 kWh.
Okay, here we have some technical specifications, technical data of each battery. So with this T30 battery, as you can imagine from the name, it's a 3.1 kilowatt-hour battery capacity. And from these 3.1 kilowatt-hours, you can always use 90%. So that's the DOD of every SolaX battery. It also is valid for the T58 battery. So you can always use 90% of the mentioned battery capacity. And another interesting fact is that with each battery module, you will get 3 kilowatt charging and discharging power. So if you have 2 batteries connected, for example, then you have 6 kilowatt charging and discharging power. If you have 3 or 4 batteries connected, then you have 9 kilowatt or 12 kilowatt charging power. And this is the permanently charging power. And it's even possible to go higher for example, 60 seconds. Then the charging and discharging rate can be go up to 150%, for example. As I mentioned, every battery is scalable up to 4 batteries, and only this battery can be used until minus 30 degrees because of the internal heating. Every battery from SolaX has a warranty of 10 years. Okay, Wojtek, please.
Okay. No, tady vidíme vlastně vlastnosti 3 kW baterie. Baterie se dokáže vybíjet až do 90%. Každý bateriový blok má výkon 3 kW. Tady, když máme dvě baterie na sobě, můžeme použít 6 kW, 3 baterie 9 kW a 4 baterie 12 kW výkon. Je to škálovatelné až maximálně do 4 baterií, které může být propojeny na sobě. Je zde použít také integrované topení, které umožňuje baterii fungovat až do minus 30 stupňů. Baterie má 6 000 životních cyklů a 10 let záruku. Yep.
Okay, thank you. And of course, there's more data for each battery, and for every SolaX component, doesn't matter if it's a battery or a hybrid inverter, you will always have a data sheet with very detailed information on the technical specifications, cycle life, warranty time, dimensions, weight. So every thinkable parameter or information is of course in the data sheet. And sometimes when you have a look in the manual of an inverter on a battery, then there's even more information. So together with all the documentation, data sheets or manuals, you will always have a very good documentation on the information.
No, takže tady můžeme vidět datasheet nebo výsek z datasheetu baterie, kde vidíme všechny detailnější informace o bateriích, které jsou potřeba při instalaci. Maybe we can answer some question here.
Yes, of course.
Please, would you please describe how the update of the firmware should be done? Prosím, můžete vysvětlit, jak se dělá update firmwareu?
Yeah. So generally, there are two different ways to do a software update. So once an inverter is online, registered in the SolaX Cloud. SolaX Cloud is our online monitoring system. Then the firmware update can be done online for the inverter, for the BMS module, and also for the battery pack. This is not a problem, but you need to contact us to start a software update. Another very easy way to do an update is that you just put the firmware or the software of the inverter, batteries, and BMS on a USB stick. And you just need to plug in this USB stick into the inverter with the correct files, of course. And then you can do the software update for inverter, BMS, and also battery in one step by using one USB stick through the inverter. And this update process is, can be done in, let's say 3 or 5 minutes. So it's very, very easy and also very fast.
Ano, takže je možné buď kontaktovat servis přímo SolaXu s updatem firmwareu, pokud je inverter připojený na SolaX Cloudu, anebo je také možné nahrát přímo flashkou do SolaXu firmware updaty s správnými teda firmwary a dá se to udělat i flashkou na místě. Yep.
Okay, thank you. And to complete the product portfolio for the batteries, of course, we have another battery. It's the T58 battery. This battery has a capacity of 5.8 kilowatt hours. And as you can directly see, the appearance is a little bit different, and therefore the installation procedure is of course a little bit different. So this battery is not stackable. You will install it them side by side. In the next slide, we will see a picture. But also with this battery, you will have 3 kilowatt charging and discharging power for each battery connected. In standard configuration, without accessories, it is scalable up to 4 batteries for each inverter. And if you use the BMS parallel box, for example, then you can create battery storage systems with up to 8 batteries, where we will have around 46 kilowatt hours for each battery. And also this battery has a warranty time of 10 years. Okay. Wait, please.
Tady můžeme vidět 5,8 kWh baterii, která má teda DAUD 90%, také jako předešlá baterie, stejně jako předchozí baterie, 3 kW výkon vybíjení a nabíjení. Dá se tedy škálovat do 4 baterií maximálně, bez jakýchkoliv dalších přístrojů. Pokud bychom potřebovali více baterií, až 8 baterií, je potřeba k tomu BMS Parallel Box. Tyto baterie mají taky 6000 životních cyklů a 10 let záruku. Okay.
Okay, thank you. One more point to mention, and this is a very important point when configuring and ordering systems, as you can see here, or let's say with the T30 battery, we have a battery pack and external BMS modules. But every battery is the same. With this T58 batteries, we have a master battery and a slave battery. This means battery 1 in a system always needs to be a master battery, like we can see it here in the picture, and then battery 2, 3, or 4 are slave batteries. This is because of the master battery. It already contains the BMS module inside the battery. It's an internal BMS module, and therefore it's important to know battery 1 always needs to be a master battery. Battery 2, 3, or 4 can be slave batteries.
Velice důležité informace je, že z baterie T58 je vždy jedna baterie master a ostatní jsou slave. U 3kW baterie jsou všechny baterie stejné a používá se u nich BMS.
Okay, and also as you can see here on the script description, if you're using single-phase hybrid inverters, then you can start only or run the system with only one battery. But if you are using the X3 hybrid system or the three-phase hybrid systems, then you always need at minimum 2 batteries. It doesn't matter if it's 2 batteries of the T58 or 2 batteries of the T30. Just remember that you will always need at least 2 batteries to make the system running.
A u jednofázového střídače můžeme rozjet systém z jednou baterií, ovšem u třífázových systémů potřebujeme vždy nejméně 2 baterie, jak T30, tak T58, jinak systém nemůže běžet. Okay.
Okay. Before I already mentioned the BMS parallel box. So with SolaX power hybrid inverters, you have the possibility not only to install systems for normal, let's say, family houses, but you can also install with the same components which are actually designed for residential systems. You can use them to set up systems for commercial or industrial PV systems. You can use the parallel connection of inverters, so you can use up to 6 inverters together, but you can also make a parallel connection of battery strings, and therefore you need a BMS parallel box, and then you can connect up to 8 T58 slave batteries together to one inverter to really design bigger commercial or smaller industrial PV storage systems. And this is possible with the same components, just with some easy to install accessories. Then you can use the same components for residential systems, but also for commercial systems. And this is what makes the SolaX hybrid inverters so unique, because of the many use cases you can cover with just components from one supplier.
Okay. Tady můžeme vidět teda použití BMS parallelboxu pro zapojení více baterií. Je dobré, že můžeme zapojit až 6 hybridních střídačů takto a 6 kusů baterií u jednofázového střídače a 8 kusů baterií u třífázových střídačů. Tady dá se úplně se stejnými komponenty takto pracovat jak v industriálním prostředí, v komerčním, tak také pro rodinné domy. Maybe we can answer the question here.
Yes, please.
What is the internal energy consumption of the battery system in case the solar plant do not produce enough power to charge the battery? For example, during the winter time. I will translate it. Jaké je vnitřní konzumace energie baterií, když soláry nedostatečně vyrábí, třeba například v zimě. Okay?
Yeah, so the own consumption of the system depends on the working mode. If it's active or if the inverter is active and just waiting for different power demand in the house. But for example, in winter time, when battery is empty, there's no PV power coming from the roof, then the system enters some kind of standby mode or idle mode. And in this work mode, the system is very efficient. So the standby consumption, for example, is less than 5 watts. So therefore, the drain of the battery energy or also grid energy is very low. But of course, there are different use cases where, for example, can make sense, especially in winter time when you see it's winter and all the PV energy is directly consumed inside the house and there's nothing left for the battery, then it also can make sense to turn off the battery, for example. So there are different things you can do the settings at the inverter for every situation use case, but generally regarding the energy saving modes, they make the system very energy efficient.
Okay. V tomto případě záleží samozřejmě na situaci, jakou máte spotřebu v domě. V průběhu zimy například inverter se dá přepnout do různých modů, do různých režimů. A někdy třeba, když vidíte, že je nedostatečná výroba na panelech a že všechno vlastně skonzumuje dům, tak je možné baterie odpojit a nechat spotřebu jenom v domě, a nabíjení jenom v domu. Záleží, dá se nastavit různě.
Okay, so on this slide we have just a summary of what we are talking before, because the idea behind also this presentation is to give you a kind of configuration overview. For example, if you need some basic information on the systems, then you can see it here at one glance. And of course, if you need more detailed information, you can always contact us or just have a look in the data sheet or maybe in the manual of the product with very specific and detailed data.
A tady je shrnutí vlastnosti baterií. Pokud budete mít někdy potřebu vidět více, můžete se podívat do datasheetu baterií, anebo můžete kontaktovat nás a zeptat se nás, co přesně potřebujete vědět, my vám s tím poradíme. Okay?
Okay, so I think maybe there are no more questions anymore. Then we can switch to the next topic to mention some more accessories, for example. Okay, so to make the product portfolio complete, of course, there's some additional accessories, which has also some very interesting functions. At some points at this presentation, I already mentioned our SolaX Cloud. Our SolaX Cloud is not an energy sharing cloud. It's just the name of our online monitoring system. So with the SolaX Cloud, the end user has the possibility to see every data of his inverter online. He can use our SolaX Cloud app on his mobile phone just to check the system if it's running okay. He can see the energy production. He can see all the energy flows in the house to the battery, to the inverter, depending on the situation. But to connect to the SolaX Cloud, he needs to use the Pocket Wi-Fi or Pocket LAN stick, for example. The usage of the SolaX Cloud is free, so there's no fee or anything else. It's free for everybody, for every user. The only thing which needs to be purchased is the pocket Wi-Fi or pocket LAN dongle, just to connect the system to the internet of the house, so that the data can be sent to our server. And for this, you can use the Wi-Fi and the LAN dongles. And also maybe in the near future, we have a dongle for mobile phone data. It's the pocket 4G.
Tady můžeme vidět různá příslušenství používané pro SolaX invertory. První je pocket Wi-Fi. Je to Wi-Fi, která se vlastně připojí k vašemu routeru domácímu a díky ní můžete sledovat všechny toky energie v domácnosti, výrobu střídače, hodnoty baterií a tak dále.
Okay. Some more additional accessories, of course, is the energy meter. The energy meter itself plays a very important role, and it's absolutely necessary, especially for hybrid inverter systems with batteries. The energy meter measures the energy flow in the house, if there's a feed into the grid, or if the energy demand comes from the grid, and this information is transferred to the inverter, so that the inverter always has the information if the inverter needs to charge the battery, or maybe discharge the battery, or maybe also do nothing, or reduce the power for zero feed in, for example. And therefore, you will always need the energy meter. On the next slide, I have some more description to the energy meter, some important information regarding it. But at first, I will mention the other accessories. Okay, Wojtek, please.
Tak další příslušenství je energy meter. A díky energy meteru vlastně vidíme spotřebu v domě a vidíme přítoky do domu nebo přetoky. Díky metru může taky střídač vědět, jestli se má vybíjet nebo jestli může nabíjet baterie. A díky energy meteru vlastně vidíme taky na tom SolaX Cloudu všechny hodnoty toků energií v domě, co se tam děje. Na dalším slajdu uvidíme zevrubnější popis tohoto metru.
Okay, thank you. I already mentioned some of these accessories, which you can see here on this slide below. The EPS box, for example, is necessary for automatic switching. So in case of a blackout, for example, and when you have an EPS box installed, then the EPS box interrupts the connection to the public grid, so that the inverter can run in off-grid mode and give EPS power or emergency power supply to the house of the customer. And basically with the EPS box, it is possible to cover the EPS mode for the whole house installation. It's an automatic switching in less than 1 second, for example. But of course, you need to stay within the limits of the inverter. So for example, a 10 kilowatt hybrid inverter can only cover 10 kilowatt of energy demand in the house in case of EPS mode or in case of blackout. So if you need more power, then you need to install a second inverter, for example, or install more batteries. But with the SolaX hybrid inverter systems, we have one of the most powerful systems on the market. So therefore, the EPS power is already very high, but of course limited by the inverter power. Together with the EPS box, I would like to mention the parallel box for hybrid. And this is the same box like the EPS box, but only with stronger components inside. So for example, if you have one or more hybrid inverters, then you can just use the EPS parallel box for hybrid inverters.
OK. Další příslušenství tady máme EPS box. Ten se dá použít pro napájení domu při výpadku energie. Tím jsou vlastně stykače, které přepínají přepínají při výpadku a zásobují vám dům z baterií. Třeba dávat pozor, že aby se nepřesáhl samozřejmě výkon instalovaného střídače. Pokud máte 10 kW na střídači, tak máte i 10 kW výkon na backupu při nabitých baterií. Pokud je potřeba větší výkon v domě při backupu, je potřeba nainstalovat další střídač s dalšími bateriemi. Jde by také zmínit tady parallel box pro hybridní střídače, který vlastně má podobné komponenty jako EPS box a funguje tak teda i při dvou střídačích a je zde možné také zapojit backupový výstup.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just mentioned the parallel box for batteries on the slide before. This box is for connecting 8 batteries to one inverter. We were talking about this especially in the battery section.
Pak tady máme ještě parallel box. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, please go on.
Další byl parallel box pro baterie a v tom se budeme věnovat v další sekci baterií.
Okay. Yeah, and like I promised, some more important information regarding the energy meters. So currently, SolaX Power is selling 2 compatible energy meters. One is from Chint, the other one is from Eastron. Both energy meters are also available in a standard configuration or a standard version on the normal market. But you need to pay attention that you get that you buy one which is compatible with SolaX. And therefore, we always recommend to buy everything in a package from Memodo together, so hybrid inverter with batteries and also with energy meter, because the energy meter is a very important part of the whole system. If you use the same energy meter from a different supplier, which is not a SolaX supplier, for example, then you have problems in the compatibility, and the energy meter cannot communicate with the SolaX inverter. So therefore, you need to make sure to buy everything on the package from Memodo, and then you will always receive the right components which are guaranteed compatible with each other. And you can identify a compatible energy meter always when you can see on the type label, you have to see the SolaX logo, the SolaX X, or the SolaX Power logo together with the name. And only then we can guarantee that the energy meter is compatible with the inverter.
Tady vidíme teda specifičtěji metry, které používá SolaX, je to buď Chint nebo Eastron. Můžete si koupit u nás metr vlastně v balíčku se střídačem. Samozřejmě metry se dají koupit na běžném trhu, ovšem musíte dávat pozor, aby metry byly kompatibilní s SolaX střídači, tedy aby bylo na nich označení X nebo SolaX na štítku a potom jsou metry kompatibilní a neměl by být problém.
Okay. Before we come to an end, we have 2 more slides with some additional functions which can be realized with some more accessory. So here I would like to mention our, we say, adapter box, or heat pump box. The adapter box gives you the possibility to connect devices to the inverter which are able to receive a signal from the inverter and then can be turned on. So for example, if you have a heat pump or other device which has a dry contact interface, then they can be connected to the inverter directly through the heat pump box or adapter box. And then once the requirement is active, then the inverter sends a signal to this device, and then the device can be turned on to make warm water or for heating the house. And this gives you the possibility to use the PV energy much more efficient than without this special function.
Jedno z dalších příslušenství je taky SolaX box, který, když se připojí k invertoru a propojí se s tepelným čerpadlem, může převádět přebytečnou energii třeba při nabitých baterií a při dostatečném dodání do domácnosti, tak přebytečnou energii dává a může spínat tepelné čerpadlo tímto SolaX boxem. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least, I would like also to mention our newest product in the SolaX family. So since this summer, we also have an EV charger or wall box available. It comes in single phase with 7 kilowatt of charging power, and three phase there we have an 11 kilowatt and also 22 kilowatt device. And yeah, the biggest advantage of this EV charger is of course that it comes from SolaX, and therefore it can communicate with the inverter. And with this communication, we can realize different scenarios. We have different features. For example, all the surplus energy, which normally is feeding into the grid, for example, can be used to charge the battery of an electric vehicle, for example. So with this direct communication with the inverter and control by the SolaX Cloud app, for example, it is a very powerful and also very useful component to maximize the usage of your PV power. Currently, this wallbox is only available in very low quantities, but we have the plan to higher the production, of course, to really cover the demand in Europe. So yeah, if you're interested in this EV charger, yeah, please get in touch with Memodo directly so that you can also buy this EV charger in the future from Memodo.
Další příslušenství můžete tady vidět také Smart EV Charger od SolaXu, tedy nabíječku pro elektromobily. Díky ní je možné nabíjet elektromobil například z přetoku a dají se nastavit další různé možnosti komunikace také se SolaX Cloudem a SolaX invertorem. Bude zatím k mání jenom v malých množstvích, ale když budete chtít, budete mít zájem, stačí kontaktovat nás, Memodo a tuto nabíječku zprostředkovat. Okay.
Okay, so at this point we come to an end, and maybe there are some more additional questions. Maybe just some more few words from my side. As you can see, the portfolio from SolaX is very very big. We have with all our components, we can really cover every need from customers, from the market, and therefore the SolaX whole solution is a very complete solution, and therefore you can see that SolaX systems are can be used for every thinkable use case. Okay, Wojtek, are there more questions?
Yes, about the compatibility with some new black LAN modules and Wi-Fi pockets. What is the compatibility between the inverters?
Yeah, in the last months, we were switching our portfolio regarding the LAN and Wi-Fi sticks. All the new sticks, they are black, and of course only compatible with the newest generation of SolaX inverters. But we definitely make sure that you always receive compatible Wi-Fi and LAN sticks. So you don't need to think about this. It happens automatically once you order hybrid inverters together with a Wi-Fi or LAN stick. You will always get the compatible devices, definitely.
Okay. Takže otázka byla, jak je to s kompatibilitou nových černých LAN modulů a Wi-Fi poketů. Je to tak, že ty jsou kompatibilní samozřejmě s nejnovější řadou střídačů a my budeme dávat pozor, a SolaX taky dává pozor na to, aby vždy při objednávání nových invertorů došly také správné LAN a Wi-Fi moduly kompatibilní s daným invertorem. Maybe some another question. Yeah, is there a possibility to communicate with the SolaX inverter by Modbus TCP protocol or the TCP-based protocol? Is it possible to get it somewhere?
Yes, this is possible. So you can send an email to service.eu@solaxpower.com or here at info@solaxpower.com and just ask for the Modbus protocols, and then we can send it to you by email and then you can use them for external communication, for example.
Okay. Otázka byla, je možnost komunikace SolaXu s Modbus TCP protokolem nebo jinými TCP protokoly, kde je možno získat, tak bude možno napsat na servisním dělení SolaXu, nebo můžete napsat i nám a my vám tyto protokoly zprostředkujeme. You are up to for more question or?
Okay, I was also answering some questions from the chat, so I think everybody can see them. So I think that's also a lot of information in the chat. But of course, we are still available for more questions, please.
Okay.
Děkuji Rudolfovi za prezentaci a Vojtovi za překlady, aby vám ulehčil co nejvíc pochopit problematiku SolaXu. Rudolf, quickly in English, thank you very much for your presenting and Vojtěch for translating what you are saying. I switch back to the Czech, přepnu zpátky do češtiny. Těch dotazů bylo opravdu hodně. Jak jsem viděl, tak i Daniel ze SolaXu pomáhal překládat. Just saying thank you, Daniel, also to you that you helped with the translations and with the answering the questions in chat. Možná, protože těch dotazů bylo hodně, poprosíme, určitě smerujte k nám do Memoda, support@memodo.cz, aby vám rádi poskytneme odpovědi. Jinak to, co zmiňoval Vojta, SolaX již prodáváme a na webu ho zobrazíme již v nejbližších dnech, takže to jenom v rychlosti pro informaci a tímto asi vám poděkujeme. Again, thank you, Rudolf and Daniel. That's all from our side. To je všechno za nás a budeme se těšit příště na slyšenou a na viděnou. And meet you next time.
See you, thank you.
Thank you.
Naschledanou.
Thank you, Rudolf.
Thank you very much and have a good day.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.